Hey everybody, coming back to you with a couple revisions of my air intake system. I posted this design on Jeep Cherokee XJ, the Facebook group, which is like if you're serious on there, it's a pretty decent place to find a bunch of information and details. It's like a forum, but on Facebook. Anyways, some people told me about the Spectra, I believe, intake system that was very similar to this system that I have. And they were saying that water was collecting in this and then going down the tube and into the throttle body. So the cool thing about my design that I didn't plan, but now I have, is how this lip drops down. It kind of forms like a little reservoir here, where then the reducer pipe creates the other side of the reservoir. So I decided, if in the middle of the night, God forbid, rain comes in here, which, by the way, if you can't tell, it's been raining here. So I went ahead last night, before I made my revision, and pulled this back, pulled the reducer back just to check. And when I got out here this morning, there was like some surface moisture, but not like built up rain. But just in case you were ever parked at a hard angle, passenger side down, and a bunch of water collected in there and rose to the filter level and came in here, before it would get to your throttle body, which would be hard for it to travel uphill, but before you start the Jeep or anything like that, I added this little, it's a 7/32, I think. That sounds right. Or maybe it's not 7/32, maybe it's a 7/64, just a little bit bigger than a 16-inch hole, but smaller than an 1/8. I added that, and I'm going to place it at the bottom of the reservoir, or the reducer. Let's figure out where I put that hole from this perspective. Right here. I'm going to point it straight down, and when I shut this thing and push it all the way up, that hole will still be there. Yeah, I can still, it might be hard for the GoPro to get down in there and see it, but it's right down here at the bottom. And the water would come, sit in here, and drip down into your engine bay, but more than likely it would just drip straight down to the ground from where this is angled. Or it might hit your heater lines, which could be scary, but really I think in the positions it's in, it would hit this and drip this way towards the motor and then down. So I don't think it would be a big issue. And the little bit of rain that I really think this thing will see, it won't be an issue. But now, just as a precaution, there's that hole. And I'm just hoping it doesn't whistle while I give it gas, but I think honestly it'll suck from the path of least resistance into from the filter side in and through, and just almost bypass this mostly. Because I mean, that's got to be less than 1% of what the filter's media covers. So it's just going to basically bypass it. But if rainwater ever gets in there, it'll drain out. Next thing that I might do is I might actually take some what's called duct putty, or duct sealer. It's like a Play-Doh for adults in the industrial market. It's this stuff. I might shape it and make a dam in there inside the cowl, right in this vicinity. Make a dam, and then put a little hole here with a like threaded piece of brass or something that feeds into the cowl, and then has a hose that drains down along the bell housing. And then I might do another one like right here along this part of the cowl. That way when you're downhill on the passenger side, you could have a second one that has a hose that goes down in here and down to basically where your AC hose drains to. Something like that. I might add those drains if I actually see some real problems arise. But I think this little extra precaution inside my design will ensure that you never pull at least an excessive amount of water through the breather hose. But I really don't think it'll ever be that big of an issue, especially if you point that hole straight down and it just starts to barely trickle in. It'll go straight to that hole and out. And then the most you'd ever suck in is what is soaked into the filter, which, let's be real, the old filter box, if enough rain and stuff is getting in here, like you can see in mine, there's rain down there at the bottom, and if it's shoving through the grill during a rainstorm, you're sucking in moisture. So your filter actually filters that moisture and holds it back. It might restrict you a little bit, but usually you never notice. And I imagine that this is the same, except for the bottom of the filter could actually potentially get soaked. But if you know anything about like sucking air through a straw versus sucking water through a straw, which one's easier to do? And if there's just a few little water particles inside of a straw while you're sucking air through it, what's it gonna suck mostly? It's gonna mostly suck air. And I feel like the filter is just a straw in its own sense. Even if part of it's damp, as long as, you know, the majority of it, that being like 80% of it, is still dry, it's gonna suck mostly from the dry side and just clean and dry out the bottom side that might be wet. So just a precaution if you take this route to think about that. Hope this video helps. Your friend St. Chris, trying to perfect his sophisticated country boy air intake for the Jeep Cherokee. God bless. Happy Thanksgiving. Have a good day. So I figured if you're gonna go this far, you might as well put your money where your mouth is. So I'm gonna do a little R&D video of that drain actually working. There you can see it just trickling down out of the... So if it ever collected in there, as long as the nose of your Jeep is pointed mostly downhill, it's just gonna drain out. Yes, the filter will be wet. Maybe, if it gets to this point, the filter's probably wet, but it will just trickle off into the engine bay to the ground. And there's a little bit of wetness right there, but I bet with enough time it will even dissipate. Probably could have drilled my hole a little bit lower, but that's okay. That little bit probably wouldn't hurt much. So there you have it, people. Just a quick fix if you're worried about it. If you're in a dry climate like Arizona or New Mexico or something like that, you probably would never have to worry about this. But here in southeast Missouri, where it likes to rain buckets in the spring and fall, you might have to worry about stuff like this. And I'm glad a Facebooker on the group helped me with analyzing this and brought it to my attention. I'm gonna get you his name real quick. He seems like a really resourceful guy on Jeep Cherokee XJ, the Facebook group. Here, I'm scrolling, sorry, while I'm talking to you here. Slow Ride Overlanding. He helped me analyze this and make sure that I took precautions, and I think this will get it for me, at least. So appreciate it there, Slow Ride Overlanding, to analyze this, and I will keep you guys updated if I do any more mods to this to make it the most optimal that it can be. I did shave this a little bit more. I drove to St. Louis last night, which round trip was like 250 miles for me, and the Jeep got roughly 17 to the gallon, which is what I was getting before. So maybe not a fuel economy increase, but that's not really what I was going for. I was going for eliminating this this air box so I can put a second battery here. The only reason I haven't taken it out yet actually is I put stuff in it until I get the second battery. So it's kind of like a little toolbox. You see my funnel sticking out right here, and then it holds my grease gun up in there. And then I kept this just in case this thing like started acting extremely strange or made the Jeep just not want to run. I was going to revert back to this if I needed to, but so far I don't think I'm going to need to. Well, again, like I said, Hope this helps you guys with your build, and consider all the variables like I, in some ways, kind of didn't. But luckily my design kind of came through for me and actually had a safeguard in place for me. And slow down or slow ride overlanding just helped me get this done before it became a problem. But like I said, last night I had a lot of rain and it wasn't even wet in there. There's maybe a little bit of moisture, but that was it. So hope this helps. God bless. Have a good, happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and take care. Your friend St. Chris, out.